Okay, today we're going to talk about these um, personal alarms that you can use as a screamer, a screecher, beeper in your rockets for the recovery phase after the main parachute comes out to help locate your rocket. These emit an incredibly loud beeping noise. They're rated on the website. It says they're rated for 150 decibels. I have no idea if that's true or not, but they are very loud. um, and they do help get your rocket back. You can, if you're searching around a field with like corn or soybeans, which is pretty common for rocket fields, recovery fields, these will definitely help get your rocket back. And they're pretty easy to hear from a decent distance, even in those fields. And these are much louder than the ones I've seen sold by rocket vendors. These are ones you can just get on Amazon. I'll provide a link on the page and in the video. But this is one I've already kind of modified. You see, I put a piece of Kevlar string. It's just regular old Emakites, 150-pound Kevlar string with in it, and I take the ends of it and put a little CA glue on there to make sure that it's not going to fray. It's a little stiff, a little easier to put through, because these keychain rings that come with it will just rip right off. They come off very easily. So the first thing I do is just cut those off. Right, that's kind of the first step here. Cut this thing off and chuck the key ring. Then these things come apart pretty easily. You just take the back screw out. And the reason I'm doing this is because you could drill through them, and I used to drill through them right through here, and every once in a while I'd hit the speaker in there and ruin it. Someone asked on the forums whether or not it was better to put them on the side so that it would pull this way instead of kind of like being oblique. And what I realized when I took these apart was that there was a pretty decent amount of room along the side of the device right in here. So what I've found is it's easier to take, just drilling this out with a 7/64 drill bit. That way, if you're drilling it from the inside, you know you're not going to hit any of the electronics, right? So drill it out from this side. There we go. And then put it back together. Screw that back in. Now you've got a good guide on this side to know you're not going to hit any electronics. So drill all the way through. Right. And then probably the hardest part, fishing your string through to make sure it goes through the hole. There we go. Then I just tie these in a overhand loop knot. I like to seal this knot with a little bit of CA. Trim off your excess. And there you go. You got a much better loop in the to hold on to. The Kevlar is not going to break, and you've got a good chunk of plastic here to hold it, so this isn't going to rip out. And then I'll show you in a second here how I put it on a shock cord. So what I like to do, and I'm sure there's many ways to attach these things, but personally I find this the easiest. If you got a pretty standard configuration here of a you're a small, in this case a small parachute, or any size parachute really, it could be a huge parachute, 200-pound rocket, and I do this on the main. You don't want this thing beeping all the way down from the drogue, and you have it attached to a shock cord or nose cone, whatever. Somewhere you've got a shock cord in your rocket for the main. You know, picture this attached to, your payload bay or your coupler bulkhead, and then this one attached to your nose cone, and then just find two spots that are going to be far enough apart. And I just like to zip tie the ends of this thing on two different parts of the shock cord that are going to be longer than the whole length of the apparatus here, right? So that when the shock cord, when the parachute opens and it extends this out, it's going to pull this pin out, and then it'll start beeping. So, you know, if this comes out at 500 feet, it's going to be beeping all the way from 500 feet, and, you know, you can probably hear it in the air. Then you just trim these, and then just wrap everything up in your Nomex blanket like usual. And make sure you wrap this in the blanket as well, because clearly it's going to be a device you want to protect from that black powder charge. Yeah, get a nice burrito roll on this, and there you go. A nice neat roll of your laundry with a beeper on the inside that's going to pull out and start beeping when the main deploys. So that's it. Good luck.